Hi everyone, my name is Victoria Fernandez and welcome to my channel. I live to inspire mental health. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. I post weekly videos about mental health and my experience with bipolar disorder. So in this week's video, I'm going to talk about a question that I've been asked in one form or another throughout these times that I've been publishing videos, and it's basically, how did I tell my boyfriend that I have bipolar disorder? So at this point, I decided to talk about this because I do believe that it's something that a lot of people probably wonder. I mean, there's so many of us who have a mental illness, whether that is depression or bipolar disorder or anything else. And a huge part of, an important part of a human's life is connection. And oftentimes that is a romantic connection. So obviously this is a very tricky subject. Why? Because I think that whenever we aren't completely stable, we are not at our best to look for the best person for us. So in my case, when I met my boyfriend, I was at a time where I thought I was the most stable I had ever been. I wasn't, but I thought I was. I was a lot better than before. I had gained a lot of self-confidence on myself, and I wasn't having episodes the way that I used to and all that kind of stuff. But regardless of that, I still felt like my diagnosis, which was a huge thing that I had to hide, was a huge thing that I couldn't tell other people. I remember I was thinking whenever I have a boyfriend, I am not going to tell him that I have a mental illness until we have been dating for 6 months. It didn't happen like that, and here's why. So I think that it is always important to protect ourselves from people. If not everyone is going to be like me, where I'm just talking about it. Most people aren't. And most people, this is something very personal that they go through. They don't want people knowing, that they only want people who they trust to know. So how did I know? Well, first of all, I told my boyfriend within weeks of knowing each other. It did not take me 6 months to do it, and I did not anticipate that. But how it happened is that the way that we were with each other, the way that he made me feel, the way that I felt like I could trust him, based not only on words but also on actions, made it an important thing for me at that moment in our relationship to say and able to move forward. Now, not everyone is like that, because obviously with dating you might be with the wrong person and then you don't know what kind of person they are until a while later. But one of the things was definitely that he asked that we should, trust each other with everything, not for there not to be hiding things or anything like that. And I remember when he told me that, I was like, dang it, because I had this thing, you have all these fears, what if that person doesn't want to be with me? What if that person, decides that being with somebody who has a mental illness is too much work, or all these different things they could be thinking, which is what society has unfortunately led to. It's that whole fear of not ever finding love. It's that whole fear of nobody ever loving you for who you are, for your scars, for what you've gone through, and for who you are now. And also that fear of not finding somebody who's willing to fight with you, alongside with you, when your mental health is not the best. Now, you might say okay, so how did you tell him? Well, basically, we were first starting going out, and I had this thing for telling people that I have bipolar disorder after going to the gym. I don't know why. Maybe I felt more confident or something. I don't know. So the night before, we were talking about life and all this kind of stuff, something that I had never really done with anybody else before in my life, about the future, what could be, and all these kind of stuff, were our values the same? And, it was a very deep conversation, and I started feeling like I could be comfortable with him. So I remember I told him, hey, I've gone through depression. I didn't tell him bipolar disorder because of everything that encompasses that word. So I told him that, and he said, I want to support you. I want to be there for you through the good and through the bad, and I want to be there for you. So obviously that made me feel so good, because I never thought that I would ever hear that in my life. But I was still feeling really guilty, because he tells me, I want us again to trust each other. And I was like, well, I'm kind of hiding a part of me. And I feel like I don't feel good hiding this side of me with somebody who I see a future with. So the next day, I remember we were in the car and I told him, hey, so I haven't been like completely honest with you. There's something that I need to tell you, and if you feel uncomfortable with it, I understand. I didn't want to also put him in a bad position, even though there is a lot of misconceptions about this illness. But in that moment, I was just like, this is what like it could be, and please be honest. I know you told me that you wanted us to be honest with each other, so that's what I'm gonna do. And basically, I told him I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder when I was 17 years old, and it was a really hard time for me, but it's something that I feel like you should know. And his response, once again, was positive. It was, whether he was feeling fear or not, I don't know. I mean, like, that's at the moment, I don't know, but it was like, he was there again, like, that doesn't change my opinion of you. And I think something else that has been important for us, I mean, we've been together for 3 years now, so something that has been very important for us is that I always told him, listen, this is what's going to happen if I have an episode. I'm going to get like this, I'm going to have negative thoughts like this, I'm going to cry, and I'm not going to be able to control it. And throughout like the relationship, it's been so meaningful for me to have him like be my biggest supporter in that sense, like learning how to deal with me, or like make me feel better whenever I'm sad. He's like, if I'm having an episode, he's like a medicine. Like, he just makes me feel good, or he makes me feel better. So it's very incredible how he has made me more stable in my life. So that's another thing. It's like, is this person gonna make me better? Is this person gonna make my mental illness better? Now, there's always like this thing of like, equality, in the sense of like, you can't fight and be like, oh, like, I have a mental illness, so you have to do this for me. It's not like that. It's like, if something's going on, it's always important to talk about it. How are you feeling? How does he feel? I've asked him, like, how do you feel about me having an episode? And that way, we always keep it like really great communication. And that's how, if I'm doing something, I can learn how to get better. It's not just excusing it because of a mental illness. It's like, okay, I understand that this is wrong, or like, I could be better, so I'm gonna work towards that. And I think that's what makes it work. And I think that a lot of people say that people with mental illnesses can't be in healthy relationships. I disagree completely. I think that it is extremely possible to both learn how to manage this stuff, and how to manage real things versus what your mind is telling you. It is definitely possible, and it's something that we have done. So I wanted to make this video because of those things, because I think it's important to know that it is possible to be in a good relationship. It is possible to do that. And another thing is, as I was in before, is the boundaries, being able to set those boundaries, being able to say like, hey, like, this is what's happening to me. Like, again, how do you feel about it? Or kind of making that person know what's coming. I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm just saying, because if you suddenly have a panic attack out of nowhere, their reaction might not be great, because they won't know what the heck is going on with you. So that's why, I mean, I believe that it's really important to have communication, and through that, and through the willingness to work together. I mean, he's been the biggest supporter of me having this YouTube channel, which I thought like that would never happen either, because who would want like somebody who is sharing all this life personal stuff with the world? But he's been my biggest supporter in that, and that's been extremely amazing, and I feel very blessed because of that. So with that, it is possible to find love. There are things that I just mentioned that should be done for it to be better and for you to grow together, and there's always going to be, some hurdles in life, and that's okay. But as long as you have the same mentality that you want to move forward together, that you're there for each other. And also realize that even if you have a mental illness, that doesn't make you less capable of loving the right way. That doesn't make you less capable, or the least, like the worst partner, or I guess that's kind of the best way that I can think of right now. But that doesn't make you less just because you have a mental illness. You have the same amount of part in that relationship, and you deserve that. And if you have ever treated like you're not, then you're not in the right place. Nobody should ever make you feel like your relationship makes you less than them. So with that, I really hope that you guys liked this video, and if you did, please like, comment, subscribe, and share with somebody who you believe should hear this message. With that, always remember that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and a bad day does not mean a bad life.